I'm back for another game. I'm playing good old Vendilion Clique again. We'll pop them out. I'm playing against Happy Little World. Well, this deck is about to make his world significantly less happy. He is playing Geth, Lord of the Vault. Alright, mono black commander as far as they go. I think Erebos is strictly better because it has 3 magic words, draw a card, printed on it. But Geth isn't terrible as far as mono black goes. It brings back artifacts and creatures from my deck, from an opponent's graveyard to the battlefield, but he has to pay their mana cost plus black, and then he mills me X as well. So Geth is definitely a big mana black deck. Erebos is as well, but Geth just loves the mana. Because you are allowed to... Okay, so you cannot overpay with Geth. So if you want my Mind Stone, you have to pay exactly 3. So you can't mill me for like 20, but get back a Mind Stone. Well, I see mono black, and I know I need Winter Orb to beat them. And look what's in my opening hand. Winter Orb it is. Okay, well, this is a snap keep. Psych Rift to clean up the board if it gets too cluttered. Mana Drain to power out this Winter Orb without having to tap my lands. Click when ideally I mana drain something and slam orb. Click on their draw step, make sure they can't do anything, and then just try to coast this miscalculation to victory with click sitting there. Miscalc plus Winter Orb's pretty brutal. Any of the taxing counter spells are basically turned into hard counters into Winter Orb, because there's no way they're going to give me 2 more turns just to play around something like Miscalc, or 3 more turns just to play around something like Mana Leak. So, quite a potent hand, and I'm very happy with the keep. He keeps as well, and we're off to the races. He gets Urborg. Good start. The only thing I dislike about it, I wish I could turn off the swamps on mine, like, just say that I always want blue. So when I click on my islands, it won't pop up with black. Swamp into Mana Vault, so above average opening, certainly. And black decks love openings like this, just being able to get up off the ground fast because they don't get normal ramp. So I'm just really, I know I don't have a counter for his next turn, so I just gotta hope that he has nothing at 5 mana or 4 mana that he wants to play, and his first impactful spells are going to be up at 6, because by then I can have Mana Drain out. Thankfully, Geth cannot come out next turn, and this is where Erebos is, in my opinion, strictly better, because if you have an opening like Mana Vault, you have turn 2 Erebos, and most blue decks will not have counter magic online by that point. They only have 1 mana if they had a fair opening, and that's not countering Erebos in any meaningful way. So it lets you get Erebos down, and then you don't care about the tap Mana Vault because you'll have 2 lands in play, and you can just start drawing with Erebos and bury your opponent in card advantage. So Mana Vault's amazing in Erebos, but having a 6 mana commander means Mana Vault doesn't get you there on turn 2 without another piece of acceleration, or another piece of broken acceleration. So I'm just gonna land an F6, yield to the trigger, save a couple seconds here and there. Go to Swamp. I really like this art. This is the John Avon full art. It's beautiful work. Great artist. This is John Avon as well, and one of my other favorite Swamp Islands. See, Swamp Island. It's one of my favorite arts as well. I want to get a lithograph of this. Okay, so, well, we're just going to slam another island and sit on Mana Drain. He's going to commit this to something eventually, and I plan on making sure it does not happen. And this Mana Drain is likely going to be used to fuel whatever I want. I'm likely going to turn his Mana Vault into my own fuel. But if I can get the Miscalc off, I might do that and then sit on Mana Drain in the post-Orb world. It's really up in the air right now. It depends on how many lands he has in play prior to me Mana Draining. Because if he still has a bunch untapped, Winter Orb's not going to be great, and I want to sit on Drain instead of Miscalc after I slam Orb. Thought Vessel, that's going to help. So, I do something here that some people might not think about. I decide not to deploy Thought Vessel yet. So I have 1, 2, 3 mana open. So if I use 2 of my islands and play the Thought Vessel, I'll still be at 2 mana and I can have miscalculation. But he's just got so much mana. He's 6, 7 next turn that he could just play something at 5, like Indulgent Tormentor or Blood Gift Demon. That's just going to start drawing him cards that I can't miscalc, that he has 2 mana open to avoid being miscalced. So, as much as I would like to deploy the Thought Vessel here, I believe it's wiser to just sit on the mana drain. I have my endgame in hand already, so I just need to make sure that I don't lose before I can get it down. Alright, so Mana Vault's still not doing anything. And at this point, he's on his fourth turn, but he's at 7 mana. And that broken opening is, like, it doesn't look like it, but the impact of it's severely diminished when he doesn't do anything with all of that mana for 3 consecutive turns. Like, these ritual artifacts are powerful because they put you 3 turns ahead on turn 2. But 3 turns ahead on turn 4, that's less than a 50% increase. But 3 turns ahead on turn 2, that's a 150% increase. So or having 4 mana on turn 2 is a 200% of what you should normally have. 5 mana on turn 2 is over 200% of what you should normally have. But having 7 mana on turn 4 is 75% stronger than you usually are. So you start their significance starts diminishing quickly. It's the same thing as like Soul Ring turn 5 or Soul Ring turn 1. Soul Ring turn 1 is way more powerful than Soul Ring turn 5. Not that turn 5 is not powerful, but you want to use these quickly or be able to capitalize on them quickly. I feel like this hand that he kept was kept on the strength of Mana Vault, but he didn't have any action in his hand. Maybe Geth was the plan, but he just hasn't deployed Geth either. Alright, so I draw my Trinket Mage. That will be useful for fueling off mana drain. So I use Nykthos and an island, play the Thought Vessel, so now I can keep Drain Up or Miscalculation if I want. So there's no temptation to shields down and throw the Trinket Mage out into play. So Mana Vault doesn't do anything. He has another land, and I guess he's playing the full Monty of the different arts for the swamps. It bothers me a little bit that he is playing like old Zendikar and new Zendikar because the frames are slightly different. Like this one's curved, this one's straight, but I play 7th edition, so. And, alright, Mana Vault's tapped. Something's going on now. 5, 6, Cage Sun. Well, I am certainly not going to let you have that, because even if I let you have that and then resolve Winter Orb, he's going to have twice as much mana being untapped per turn as I am, with the exception of artifacts, that is. So that is a perfect target for mana drain. And 6 mana that I'm going to be able to use on my turn. Winter Orb, Trinket Mage, Sol Ring. And that's only 5 of what I'm going to have available. I draw Crystal Shard so I can rebuy Trinket Mage continuously. Well, this hand just keeps getting better. Alright, so I add 6, 1, alright, deploy the Trinket Mage. And let's not click through my deck. So, made a few edits. This is the current list. I took out some of the extra turn spells. I found they weren't doing enough for me, but I'm gonna test them again because now they give me an extra turn of a clock. They're better in situations where you have like a Zami or Vendilion Clique, it seems, as the commander, because you're either getting an extra turn of a clock or drawing an extra 5 cards because your commander is a Zami. Than when it was rain, which was basically an extra draw and an untap for my hand. So these are my choices. Mana Vault's been added. Sensei stops in the deck. So Trinket Mage really has a silver bullet package, and there's no temptation here to get the Crypt. I'm just going to get the Sol Ring. I have more than enough mana to deploy it. I plan on winning under Winter Orb, but it's not worth taking the damage. I considered getting top, but because I plan on deploying Winter Orb, I really want to have at least 4 mana every turn between Thought Vessel, Sol Ring, and 1 land. So, the Sol Ring it is. The next time that I use Crystal Shard on Trinket Mage, my plan is to get the top, so then I can start sculpting my draws. And the top will usually seal the deal with it if I have Clique beating in. Alright, so use one of the mana, play the ring, go up to 5, play the shard, and play the Winter Orb. And seeing Winter Orb come down gets the concession. He's burnt his mana vault. He's not going to be able to untap it for 2 turns, but untapping it will cost him 2 of his turns worth of untapped mana. On his upkeep, I'm going to be able to blue 1, get Vendilion Clique down. I might do that in his end step in the hope that he doesn't have counter magic. And then I'll have Island, Nykthos, Thought Vessel, Sol Ring untapped, and 3 blue. So Sol Ring, Nykthos makes 3 blue. So Nykthos can then turn Sol Ring into blue mana effectively. I only tap 1 land per turn that way. So I have blue 1 as my potential mana per turn. And with my ability to rebuy my Trinket Mage with Crystal Shard, he packs it in. This was, albeit a short game. My opponent only cast 1 spell, or 2 spells the entire game, the Mana Vault and then the Cage Sun. I wanted to illustrate how powerful this is against Mono Black. And how important it is to actually be able to have hands that capitalize on this. Like, my hand had the potential to turn the mana drain that I was banking on into a winning situation. But if I didn't have anything to go with mana drain is just a counter spell that maybe I'll deploy something like Trinket Mage or a Thought Vessel off of. It's not something huge. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game, even though it's short. I didn't have any bugs, which was nice. And I will see you guys in the next one.